The hosts feel it would be a little unkind to present this podcast without just a word of friendly warning. We are about to unfold the story of Frankenstein, a man of science who sought to create a man after his own image without reckoning upon God. It is one of the strangest tales ever told. It deals with the two great mysteries of creation, life and death. I think it will thrill you. It may shock you. It might even horrify you. So if any of you feel that you do not care to subject your nerves to such a strain, now's your chance to. Well, we've warned you.
Hello and welcome once again to the Frankencast. I'm the mad scientist Anthony Bowman. My pronouns are he, him, and I'm joined as always by...
The creeper in the red SUV, that is Eric Velasquez. My pronouns are also he, him.
Yeah, so as promised, we're doing our Christmas special with Silent Night, Deadly Night 5, The Toy Maker.
By the way, people may be wondering, well, first of all, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, you know, whatever you celebrate, happy that to you.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the Silent Night series, because this is a wild series, man.
It's absolutely one of the craziest horror series of all time, in my opinion.
Right. And there's a weird through line in all of the movies, I'm pretty sure. And that's that parents having sex is traumatizing to kids.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What? Okay, sure. I mean, yeah, sure, why not? But anyway, so the first one is literally just about a slasher Santa, right? Yeah. The second one is effectively the first one, literally the first one, because it just takes footage. The third is kind of a sequel, but kind of not, in that it technically has Ricky from the first two movies.
But it's a new actor.
Bill Moseley.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Who played Chop Top and Otis
and
Firefly.
He is kind of a Chop Top character in this too, because his brain is exposed in the third one for some reason. Like he's got
and he has psychic powers.
Yeah.
And then the fourth one just goes completely off the rails, as if the first two didn't. But in this one, we have a coven of witches.
Yes.
Like, is it even set during Christmas? I don't remember, honestly.
Yeah, it may just be in the background, but there's nothing really Christmassy about the fourth one.
No, this was a script that was written for another movie that they said, chuck it in Silent Night. We don't have all the Hellraiser stuff that we could just throw this into, so let's throw it into Silent Night, Deadly Night.
Yeah.
And this one actually works.
Yes. Yeah, so the fourth one's the one, is Clint Howard in it? Am I remembering that right?
He is in 4 and 5, yes.
Yeah, he has like a little cameo in 5, which I thought was a funny sort of nod. But yeah, I think 4 is the weakest. I really like the second one in that it basically is like, okay, let's take all of the good stuff from the first one and then just like make it some other weird stuff also.
Yeah.
the
also
garbage
throw in
day.
the line, garbage day! You know.
Yeah, and moments after the garbage day, we won't talk too much about Silent Night, Deadly Night 2, but there is a car stunt in this movie that I think is one of the most unbelievable things I've ever seen on film. Every time I watch it, I'm like, how did this stuntman not die? Right. There's a car that does the thing where it hits a ramp on one side of its wheels, so it's rolling on 2 wheels for a little bit, and it comes within inches of hitting the stunt guy that's playing Ricky. You only see him from the back, but I don't know how they did this safely. It looks insane. But yeah, especially in this movie that looks like they just slapped it together with no effort at all, and it's like, this stunt looks dangerous. I really hope that they put the effort in and they didn't just risk a guy's life for 2 seconds that most people probably don't even pay attention to how crazy it is.
I'm not going to put it past them.
Yeah.
They rolled the dice on that one, and I think it came up lucky for them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about a little bit more about this one, though. Both 4 and 5 are written by Brian Usda. So you know what that means.
Right, yeah.
Creepy wet puppets, baby. Let's go.
Yeah. And I think this one, I mean, it's probably not, the first two having a killer Santa character, but this one feels more Christmassy. It's wintry. It's all about toys and Christmas gifts. I think this one feels the most Christmassy of the whole series, really.
Yeah, even more than the first two. Yeah, for sure.
And like it's actually like it's a pretty compelling story. Like they do a pretty good job of like kind of keeping you on your toes. There's a couple different plots going on at the same time, and you're just like, there's a few creepy, suspicious guys here, and I'm not really sure who's the villain here, or maybe there's more than one. Like, what is going on here? But
I will say the twist wasn't much of a twist. It still was kind of like, yeah, okay, I see. Yeah, I mean, I expected that to be
the very end. Yeah, there's a couple. We'll get to it, like where they really beat you over the head with like, are you catching what we're doing here? Do you get the joke? Do you get the reference?
Literally, the name kind of gives it away, though, right?
Yeah, that's the names of the toy maker and his son really give away a lot. Yeah, we'll get to that momentarily.
There is. All right, so let's go ahead and give the warnings. First off, this is all spoiler. You know this. You've been here. It's all spoiler all the time. Second off, we're going to go ahead and say SA is a thing here. It's mostly at the end, but be aware of it.
Yeah. There's just like some like vague, ominous sexual content in the back. Like most of it is just like a fear of something that might happen, but there's just a lot of tension in that regard as the movie goes on.
Right. Aside from that, this movie's actually pretty sex positive.
Yeah. Like there's, you were talking about that a lot of these movies feature like a scene where a kid sees their parents having sex and it becomes this traumatic moment. In this case, I mean, there's like traumatic stuff that happens afterwards, but like for the most part, the kid walking in on his parents having sex thing, he's just like, oh, and he leaves, which is what you would do, and like it.
I hope you would do.
Right? Yeah.
So be like,
But there are so many movies where like then the kid comes back with an axe and chops up his dad or whatever, and that's not
literally the first
movie.
The first Silent Night did that.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I guess we're kind of getting into it. So like, yeah, that's how we start. Is after some establishing shots and everything, we see this kid. He hears a doorbell. He goes to get his parents to let them know somebody's at the door. It's nighttime, and yeah, it's his parents are having sex. So he decides, okay, well, I'll just go answer the door then.
Right, and he goes downstairs. He finds a present addressed specifically to him, to Derek, is the character.
And it says, don't open till Christmas, but of course he's a kid, so he brings it in and immediately opens it.
Right. And of course his dad, though, jump scares him. It's like, what are you doing opening the door? You're not supposed to do that. Like, overreacting for sure, but, being like, hey, you're not supposed to do that. Don't do that.
Yeah, it's the time that this movie came out, this was not, this was when, like, latchkey kid time.
Yeah.
Like, this was when parents were just like,
kids are?
Yeah, just let your kid wander the streets all day. It's fine. So it's kind of surprising how protective he is. But he also is like, what are you doing? Open this gift. Go to bed. We'll deal with this in the morning. He goes to pick up the package to put it away, and it's like moving. Like there's something inside the box, and he's like, what the fuck? So
nope, that box is going directly into the fireplace.
Yeah, an anonymous box addressed to my kid. Something's inside. No, definitely not.
Right. Or I'm kicking it right out the door. Yeah.
Yeah. But he opens it, and there's just like a red ball inside with a little button that he presses.
Oh, no, it's a Hellraiser ball.
Yeah, pretty much.
Pokemon ball from Hellraiser. Anyway.
It starts like moving and playing like a Christmas song, and like a little
then it goes into a funeral dirge.
Yeah, like there's like a thing that pops out that makes it look like it's like Santa, and then the Santa's head turns around and it's like evil Santa on the back, and that's when it starts playing the dirge. Then it sort of like turns into like a face hugger, like the arms and legs wrap around the dad's head. He kind of like stumbles around, sort of being strangled by this weird toy, and ends up falling and hitting his head on the mantle, and then knocks over the fireplace tools, and kind of, it's a little comic, like it's ridiculous.
Goofy, yeah. He literally lands on a fire poker. That's what kills him, instead of the ball.
Yeah, and then the toy kind of turns back into the ball of, while the dad's bleeding out.
Right. And now, Derek was watching this the whole time, so he saw everything.
Yeah.
He literally saw this ball that was addressed to him kill his father, basically.
Yeah, and his mom comes downstairs at that time after, hearing the commotion, sees the chaos, screams, Tom, and then we go to credits.
Right. So, okay, we know, like, already we're starting off pretty good, right? We've got some stuff going on here.
Yeah, and because of the way the other Silent Night, Deadly Nights are, it feels like, oh, we're going to, when we come back from credits, we're going to have this kid as an adult and now he's all fucked up. But no.
Right.
It's like, a couple weeks later. Same kid, same mom. Now the
can
kid's
we talk about the credits real quick?
Yeah.
So those are, it's like a wooden doll, right? But this is Brian Usna. So it's also kind of got a vaguely psycho theme going on in the background.
Yeah.
But also we get like anatomical shots of the wooden dolls.
It's very much like in the vein of the Reanimator credit sequences, but now, with Christmas toys.
It's like Brian Usna became his own meme and he leaned into it.
Yeah, he definitely has been the most successful at becoming a parody of himself. Like, he was already so weird that just like leaning into it has been even better. Like,
right.
And I think we get like, and I believe the credits say like Screaming Mad George did some of the special effects in this.
Yes,
so
he
like
did.
The two of them just kind of paired up and they're like, let's just be fucking weirdos together, and it's been great.
I would have loved to be a fly on that room, but I probably would have had weird spindly arms and like some pincers. Yeah, I don't know. It's been real wet. It would have been interesting.
Yeah.
Where was I going with that? Anyway.
So yeah, when we come back from the credits, we've got the mom waking up next to Derek. He's asleep. Clearly he's still kind of traumatized. He's sleeping with his mom. He's not staying in his own bedroom. She like goes to his bedroom to get some clothes since like he's clearly not sleeping in there. And we see that ball is on the shelf, so it's still around.
I do not know why this kid abides this.
Right, like he knows what it did. Like the mom may be kind of out of it, and as we'll find out, the kid doesn't speak anymore.
Right.
He's so traumatized.
He's now selectively mute, or he's just mute.
Yeah. So he can't really tell his mom what's up, but like he knows. So we just kind of get some morning stuff, like she fixes breakfast. He's watching cartoons.
Oh, he's not watching any cartoons, my friend. He's watching Rambo and the Freedom Force. Or Force of Freedom, I'm sorry.
Okay, I did not recognize. I was like, this is a weirdly, like, it's like a guy with a machine gun just, like, shooting a bunch of shit. And I was like, I don't know what cartoon this is, but it's pretty violent.
This is the time of, like, R-rated movies getting cartoons. Because we had Conan the Adventurer, which was based on the Conan movies. Then we also have Rambo and the Force of Freedom. Then we have RoboCop, which was a pretty long-running series, and people wonder why we are the way we are.
This is the same time that like the Beetlejuice cartoon, the Toxic Avenger cartoon, like there were
nothing that should have been cartoons. Nothing.
Yeah, so weird, but it feels like it sets the tone of like, oh, this is a weird world where like, I mean, it's our world, but it's it's playful and violent, and it's for kids, but it's not for kids, and it seemed like an intentional choice here, and I liked that.
So as you said, the mother Sarah, we're going to find out her name is, sets his breakfast in front of Derek, and Derek just starts tearing into it because he has untreated trauma.
He's like using his hands, and like she's been clearly very sweet and understanding him. He's sleeping in her bed, she's getting his clothes, she's cooking his food and everything, but also she's dealing with this trauma too. Like she's got this broken kid basically. Like her husband died, her kid is messed up, and she doesn't know what to do about all this. So of course she kind of snaps here. She's like, "What do you do? Don't do that!" And he kind of like gets jarred. He's still very shaken up, and then immediately she like apologizes. This is parents do this. You're not your best self every moment of every day,
right? Especially after something like this.
Yeah. So she's like, maybe a new toy would cheer you up. Maybe maybe later today we can go out to Petto's toy store.
We have to emphasize the T's because it sounds like something else.
Yes, yeah. Rough choice here, but yes, Petto. And then we'll learn that the owner is Joe Petto.
Joe Petto, yeah.
So, as we said, the name here kind of gives away what's going on. And if that's not enough, then when we meet Joe's son, his name is Pino.
Pino, yeah. But also Sarah's friend Kim comes over. Okay. So you know how in movies there's the instance of the clearly 20-something-year-old person playing someone who's like 15?
Yeah.
In this case, we have someone who's clearly like 20, at most, maybe 22, playing someone who is like supposed to be in their late 30s. because she has a teenager. It's like, no, okay.
Yeah.
That. I don't know if that's refreshing or what that is, but...
Yeah, I'm not sure how that ended up happening.
But she has a kid who's a teenager who comments on Joe Petto's shop. He's like, they don't have anything there. He says they don't got shit there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like this is an old style toy store where the guy's making the toys, and obviously this teenager in this time frame is like, I want video games. I don't want like a wooden horse or whatever,
Right. Yeah, and that would be that way for the next 20 to 30 years anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah. I mean, yeah, obviously, like the kid's like, yeah, give me a Nintendo, Sega probably at the time. Anything else, right?
Yeah. There's a commercial on TV that looks like the same toy. Derek sees it. He kind of gets nervous. He like runs and goes to like look out the window. Got Sarah comforting him and everything. And then we see outside there's a car with a guy who seems to be watching them.
So Derek's watching the guy watch them.
And like he kind of is watching him through the window as like Sarah's hugging Derek, and then he eventually just pulls away, drives off. So we've got this first instance of like, who is this mysterious, suspicious guy, and what's his deal?
Right. We will call him Red Herring number 1.
Yeah. So I think.
But yeah, so later they do go to Joe's.
Yeah, and we get a jump scare where we meet Pino. He's wearing like a Halloween mask, and he kind of scares Derek.
Right. Clearly the kid's off already, right? Pino is supposed to be another teenager. He probably is played by a 20-year-old man.
Yeah. And Joe comes out. He's like very apologetic. He's mad at Pino for trying to scare customers and everything. Eventually he sends Pino to the back room.
By the way, we didn't mention Joe is played by Mickey Rooney. Like,
yeah,
he's famous for like Breakfast at Tiffany's and a bunch of other movies. I think he was one of the Disney cast members.
Yeah. Like he was an actor for like his whole life.
Literally since he was 17 months old.
Yeah. And like, yeah, he has like a weird, like you said, he's in Breakfast at Tiffany's. If you've seen that movie, he's the character that really ruins the movie because he's like this horrible racist stereotype in an otherwise classic film.
But why did they think that was okay?
But he's like was in a lot of westerns. He's just kind of been in everything. But like this does seem like something like where it's like, this seems like a weird role for him. But he's good in it. Like
as he got older, he got a lot creepier and like just angry.
Yeah.
So it makes more sense.
And he's like, so he's mad. He's like kind of yelling at Pino. He sends Pino away, but he becomes like the kindly old man. He's trying to like offer up all these toy options to Derek, and Derek's still just kind of nonverbal and not really interested.
Yeah. I don't know if a dog with a creepy extending tongue is necessarily the toy you want to offer a child.
Yeah. And I think eventually, like, is it the larva is like the last toy he tries to show, and that's when
Larry
like,
the larva.
It's just this creepy, worm with a weird face. And finally, Sarah's like, "We'll come back later." And Derek's just not really.
Well, what it is Pino basically is like, "Here, take this toy. I want you to have this toy." And Derek's like, "Nah, I'm good, bro."
Yeah, and that's where like Sarah's like, "We'll come back another time. It's too much. It's overstimulating for Derek and everything."
Right. But as this is also going on, the creeper, as we will call him now, slides into the toy store, and he's also watching Derek, who's once again watching him.
Yeah, like the store's big enough. There's some aisles and stuff, so he's watching without being seen. Like everyone else. In fact, so once Sarah and Derek leave, Joe thinks they've got the place to themselves, and he starts yelling at Pino, and he's like, I can't believe, I should lock you up for good. Like you're terrible.
You're undermining everything I do.
Yeah. So he's like, really going at
abusive.
him. Yeah. It definitely. Yeah. And then that's when like I think he like shoves them around the corner, and then they see, there's this guy here, and Joe has to like,
this is a customer.
Yeah, oops. Oh, sorry, I didn't know there was anybody else here. What can we do for you? He immediately switches back into like kindly old man mode. The guy's like, yeah, I need to buy a bunch of stuff. Joe keeps trying to talk to him. He's like, what about this? And the guy's like, no, I'm in a hurry. Just ring it all up. I got to get out of here. I got to go.
Well, also the guy has clearly Joe says, hey, you've been here buying a lot of toys already. Like, you must be doing something. and he notices, he's like, hey, you look like you were in the army. Are you kind of doing it for an army thing? And the character, Noah, is just kind of like, yeah, sure. He's just trying to pay for the toys and leave, right?
Yeah. So he leaves with all these toys, and then as he's gone, Joe sees on the ground there's a newspaper clipping talking about the death of Tom. Derek's dead. Yeah. So he's like, that's weird. But
then he decides it's time to go abuse my son some more.
Yep. So yeah, he goes to yell at Pino, and then we cut to like that night. We have our mysterious guy Noah, as you said. He's in a hotel room, and there's a knock at the door. It's the hotel manager who's like, all right, you've been staying a while. I know you paid in advance, but the money's run out. Like I need you to keep paying.
Pay me.
Yeah, pay me or you're gone.
Noah's like, yeah, I'll pay you tomorrow. And the guy's like, nah, it's got to be tonight, bro.
Yeah, and basically, like, Noah he negotiates, and he's like, I'll pay you in cash tomorrow, and in the meantime, you got kids, right? I'll give you a toy. I got all these toys. Let me get you something nice for your kid, and then we'll call it even, and I'll pay you tomorrow. And the guy's
he gives him Larry the Larva.
Yeah, the manager leaves. I think that we just see him driving home, and the toy's in the back, but Larry the Larva crawls out of the box.
Well, no, the toy's right beside him, and he falls down into the floorboard and kind of gets loose, and then he starts playing with the toy.
Yeah, but eventually the toy, like, attacks him, and we get this really, like, long scene where, like, the toy's, like, choking him, and he's, like, swerving all over the road. Eventually it, like, crawls into his mouth and, like, sort of hollows out his head, like, his eyes are, like, just empty sockets, and the car...
It's a Screaming Mad George special. He crawls inside, the eyes sink into the skull, and yeah.
Yeah, and it looks pretty good. Like this is a great set piece that's just really not plot related at all. Like this character was only in this one little section,
right.
But it does set
literally
up. I guess
there to be killed.
Yeah, we see that this is the Larry the Larva, the toy Pino tried to give to Derek. So now we have another suspect. We have the creepy, mysterious guy. We also have Pino, but Noah gave this guy the toy, so we don't know. Is Noah collecting toys and doing something to them? There's a lot of still questions about where the trouble's coming from.
Right. Who's the problem here, right?
Yeah.
So later that night, though, Noah does creep into Joe's store, and he goes snooping for some stuff. He goes into the back room. He finds a photo of Joe and one from Pino, who looks exactly the same, more or less, like with some different outfit choices, from 1970. This would be 20 years before this movie takes place.
Yeah, Joe is a young man in the photo, but Pino looks exactly the same. Yeah. So
I mean, it telegraph right there.
Yeah. I mean, like we still don't know what this guy's deal is, but I mean, it's pretty obvious now that like if you somehow missed the name references here, this is Geppetto and Pinocchio and that Pino is not a real boy. Yeah.
Yep, pretty much.
So then, like,
I think they could have kept this going. One, just name him something entirely different, and two, like have Noah look at the photo and be shocked or a little weirded out, but not show us the photo till later. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, it is weird that like we have Noah as this red herring character, but like, I mean, there's a lot of really it's hard. You can't even really call them clues. Like they're just really obvious answers way early on, and then it still pretends like it's a mystery for a while.
Right, but we get a little tense scene here where Joe comes down the stairs, pours himself some whiskey, because that's what you do, I guess, when your life's in shambles, and he just stares at the cellar where Pino has been going down to, or going into. So he's just like, Pino's got to come up sometime.
Yeah, so he goes back up to his little apartment area, and then Noah obviously saw him looking down at the hatch, and he's like, well, I got to find out what's going. So he goes down into the hatch, and he
gets grabbed.
Something's grabbing him. He's like fighting, but he does manage to like pull his way out. He runs out of the store. And then we see Pino down in the hatch looking up at him, or looking up as he runs out of the store.
Boy, those are more clues, I guess. We know the problem's Pino. It's always Pino. He's the problem.
So then we have like the next day, Sarah is trying to find Derek. She's yelling for him and he's not answering. She's kind of panicking.
It's because he's got his earbuds in.
Yeah, he's listening to headphones.
Like a Playmobil cassette player.
Yeah.
Gosh.
So she's like, we're going to go see Santa.
He's not so sure about that. He's like, I don't know.
Yeah, this is a kid who doesn't want to be around strangers who are giving him toys. You know, this isn't the thing. But when they go outside, there's another package on the porch. And Sarah's like, that's weird. We'll just set it inside. We'll deal with it when we come back.
Yeah,
so
it must be from my friend Kim. She must have put this here. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he's like, nah, that ain't Kim. I know what that's about.
So then we see at the mall, we're like backstage of the Santa area, but instead of it just being like a Santa, like most malls, they have like a couple Santas who are working in shifts.
Why? That's mind-boggling. Like, for other jobs, that makes sense. And like other performance things, that makes sense. But these guys have like makeup and like wardrobe and all kinds of stuff back there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very strange.
You just need a beard to be Santa. You don't need that much.
Yeah.
But we also have a cameo from the man himself, Clint Howard.
Yeah. And he's getting ready to be called out on stage, but then we see there's another Santa, and it's our mystery character Noah. And he's looking out through the curtain, and he sees Sarah and Derek. And he's like,
I'll pick up your shift, bro.
Yeah, let me take your shift. I need to be Santaing right now. And Clint Howard's like, okay, I don't care. Yeah, I'm getting paid. Whatever, go on.
Was this a thing? Was this ever actually a thing? Because I feel like in no world have I lived in where you could have a shift but not go on the shift and still somehow get money.
Yeah, I mean...
If so, let's return to that, please.
Right, like, there would be one Santa working a shift, and then, if there were multiple Santas, which is, in and of itself, makes very little sense.
Mind-boggling.
Yeah. But, one would be off work, he would leave, and the other one would come take over. There wouldn't be a bunch sitting backstage waiting for their little, 15-minute shift or whatever.
Right.
But, so we have... Noah sitting as Santa. There's I think first we have like a girl who sits down and he's not really paying attention to her because he's just staring Derek down the whole time.
Yeah. She just wants clothes and a 10-speed bike. That's it. That's all.
And we also, like this bit, we keep cutting away back to Sarah and Derek's house where Pino has broken in.
Right. We find out that he had a key under a brick. And that says Pinot 75. Mm-hmm. So he's been there since 1975. Interesting.
Yeah, it's like, the classic thing where you, like, let your kid put their handprint in the concrete when you lay a porch or whatever. But, yeah, so Pinot has some connection to their house. We have, like, him kind of searching around. We go back to, like, now Derek is, it's his turn with Santa. This bit kind of seemed weird to me. Like, Sarah knows Derek is nonverbal. He's not talking. And she kind of gets mad at him that he doesn't want to talk to Santa. And it's like, if he's not talking to you, his mother, he's not going to talk to a stranger.
Right. But Noah is very possessive of Derek for some reason. He's like, I'm not going to let Noah go, even though you want to leave. I'm literally telling you no.
Yeah, because Sarah's like, okay, I guess it's not going to work. We'll head out. And Santa's like, no.
There's a twist on this later. Mm-hmm. And that will make all of this event that just happened make less than no sense. Because one, she would know Noah. Like,
yeah, like
if you're that close to someone, and you're like, oh hey, that's crazy, and then also, why wouldn't he say, hey, I'm Noah?
Yeah. This scene, like, I get why he wants to be around Derek, and it doesn't really like. This whole sort of like creepy subterfuge thing going on makes no sense when you get to the twist. It's like, why were you hiding? Why didn't you just go knock on the door? What is...
Right. Literally there was nothing stopping him. He should have just immediately been like, hey, it's me. I just wanted to see you again.
Yeah, it's very bizarre.
Should we reveal it? We've already told people there's spoilers.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like at this point, we're kind of hinting at it so hard. Like, Noah and Sarah had a relationship in the past.
6 years ago, specifically.
Yeah, they were young, they were naive, and he wasn't ready to settle down, and he kind of moved on.
And he went into the army.
Yeah, and after he left, she found out she was pregnant, but she never told him. And ended up meeting Tom, and Tom was more stable and mature, and they got married, and Tom was happy to raise Derek as his own, and they just kind of left it at that. So, as far as Derek knows, his dad died, but Noah is his actual dad.
Right. He won't find out. He literally will not find out that Noah's his father in this movie.
Yeah, but, they kind of at the end they sort of he's going to, but he just it doesn't.
Or his biological father. Tom was his dad and father.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
So here's just as commentary from me. This is honestly probably the best case scenario. I mean, aside from his actual father or his father dying, for this group of people, everyone was very responsible. She was I mean, there are other things that could happen, but she was like, no, I want to have this kid, but also you're not ready. Mm-hmm. So you go do your thing. And then he actually did grow up and become ready. Mm-hmm. And they did reconnect. So
yeah. I mean, he asks, why didn't you tell me? And she's like, well, I knew you weren't ready, and just didn't seem like there was a point. Maybe she should have let him know, but regardless, he had his path that he needed to go on, and everything kind of came at the right time. He wasn't ready then, but now he is, and it just kind of, unfortunately for Tom, he got murdered in the deal. But
right, he got the shaft. Yeah, with poker.
Right, yeah. But at this moment, there's just this weird tension where, somehow she doesn't recognize him with a fake Santa beard. And, he doesn't reveal the secret at this point, so he just looks like a creep. Yeah,
just for no reason, because we already know Pino is who he is, and he's literally in the Sarah and Derek's house, chilling on his bed, going through her underwear.
Yeah,
and,
he's
messing with their ornaments,
sniffing her bras, and so it's just kind of just generic creepiness. There's not really any purpose to what he's doing. He's just kind of wandering around being a weirdo.
Yeah, it's still unsettling having someone wander through your house doing whatever they want.
Yeah. So we get when Derek and Sarah get back home, Derek just goes right inside, and Sarah's unloading the gifts and stuff they bought at the mall.
Yeah, but Kim comes over and she's like, hey, I'm pretty sure I saw somebody in your house.
Yeah, she was like, was Derek with you? And she was like, yeah, we just got back from the mall. And she's like, 20 minutes ago, I saw someone walking around the house. I thought it was Derek, but if you all just got back, somebody's in your house. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, Sarah panics. She runs inside. She's yelling for Derek. Again, he doesn't respond.
Well, she comes in to see his legs sticking out from behind some chairs. And she's like, oh no, something has happened to Derek. And he's just like, I'm chill, Mom, what's up?
Yeah, he's just laying there again listening to headphones, so he didn't hear her or whatever.
The funniest scene of the movie happens right now, because Pino busts out of the closet, just runs out of the house.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, what the hell was that?
Yeah. So, of course, Sarah goes down to Pedo's and is like, Joe, what the fuck? Your kid was in my house?
As he's slugging down more whiskey.
Yeah. And he's like, no, the Pino's been here the whole time. And she's like, bullshit. I saw him. I know he was in my house. What's going on? That can't happen.
Yeah, so we get a little bit of the Petos backstory, in that Joe and Pino used to live there at their house. But something happened, the bank foreclosed, and they had to move into the shop.
Yeah, they're not making enough on the toys, so they just kind of had to set up an apartment in the back room. And he's like, yeah, but Pino misses the old house. He probably just wanted to go walk around it. And Sarah's understanding. She kind of calms down, and she's like, okay, but that cannot happen again. I will call the cops if he shows up in our house ever again.
Joe agrees. He's like, it will never happen again.
Yeah. So she leaves, and Joe goes to grab the hatch, and Pino is on the other side holding it closed.
He's not going to let Joe down there. Just like, all right, buddy, you got to come up sometime. I'll get you then. I'll be waiting for you.
Yeah. Back to the house where Sarah's like, oh, Derek, I forgot. We had that gift on the porch when we left for the mall. You should open it. Derek's like, nah. He's just shaking his head. And she's like, all right, you don't have to if you don't want to. The doorbell rings. It's again Kim. And Sarah's like, oh, Derek hasn't opened it yet, but thanks for the gift. And Kim's like, I didn't give you all a gift.
Didn't give you a gift, yeah.
So she's like, that's weird.
So now Derek is like trying to figure a way to dispose of this present without alerting his mom or Kim.
Yeah, he's trying to shove it out the window, but it's like too wide. He can't get it.
Right, and also he just can't lift up the window for some reason.
Yeah, so he carries it downstairs and just throws it in the trash.
The trash outside the house.
Yeah, like the trash can down by the road.
But Kim's son, Lonnie, sees this, and he's like, free presents, baby. Let's go.
Yeah, so he opens it, and it's got rollerblades in there, and he's like, sick, so he puts on the rollerblades.
It's the early 90s. Rollerblades were a thing. Let's go.
Yeah. But then we cut back to Pedos, where Joe is yelling at Pino, and like it's getting physical. Like this is like again, this is abusive behavior here.
Yeah, like he's swinging on Pino, and Pino does grab him and overpowers him, but Joe gives him a little surprise smash with the bottle of whiskey over the head.
Yeah, and Pino ends up falling down the stairs. And immediately Joe, he's like, oh God, what have I done? Like he runs to try to help Pino. But then we go back to Kim's son, who is like, we have these two like older teens, like a couple. Right.
I don't get the girl's name, but the guy's name is Buck.
Okay. And they're
Kim's son is Lonnie.
Yeah, so Lonnie is like just kind of, he's like a tween, he's like probably like 13 or something, and these are like 17-year-olds or whatever, and he's like kind of being a dick to like they're just arguing. Like Buck wants to make out with his girlfriend, and he's like, what is this this punk kid doing?
Right. Well, they almost seem like brothers, right, in the way they're arguing and messing with each other.
Yeah, and I think it ends up like Lottie kind of like, I think he calls him an asshole or something, and then he just like speeds away on his roller skates, and it's just kind of like, fuck you, haha, you can't catch me. Back in the house, Kim is like leaving, and Sarah's like, Derek, I've been thinking about it, and I want you to try to sleep in your own room tonight. Like
you've got to get over this.
Yeah. So. But don't worry, I'll be right down the hall like always. And, if you get upset, you can always come into my room, but I want you to try. Let's just try it for a night. So he seems really nervous, but she tucks him in, leaves his room. Cut back to outside where Lonnie is still speeding around, just kind of trying to taunt Buck and his girlfriend. But then his rollerblades suddenly get like rocket boosters, and he's now like speeding out of control.
Yeah. Which that's great, right? This is a very I don't know if you would say like almost Nightmare on Elm Street gag.
Yeah.
But yeah, they start spinning around on him, and they're literally driving him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so it's again, like obviously this is another anonymous toy that's shown up on their doorstep that has something wrong with it.
Right. But as this is happening, the ball comes back to life. The ball that's in Derek's room.
Yes. And Derek sees it, and he like surprisingly, like he handles this like pretty bravely considering how traumatized he is. He just goes and grabs
G.
Yeah, he grabs a baseball bat and he just smashes the shit out of it.
I mean, same, bro.
Yeah. Sarah comes in and is like, what is happening? But then meanwhile outside we see Lonnie is completely out of control. He ends up getting hit by a car.
Right. Well, literally the skates lead him in front of the car and stop right there. This also reminded me of Megan. I wonder if the writers of Megan were like, I kind of want to use that gag.
Yeah, it's really good. And I think then the next thing we see is just Lonnie waking up in the hospital. Kim is there by his side. Sarah comes.
But he's all in bandages. He's mummied.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, fully like head to toe in traction. Sarah's like, I'm really sorry about Lonnie's accident. And Kim's
like, that's no accident.
Yeah, look at these rollerblades. There's all these wires. Like this was planned. They don't really seem to make the connection that like this is the toy that was supposed to be for Derek. Like no one seems to really kind of like have that conversation.
No, yeah. 2 and 2 for some reasons it's not adding up to 4. Yeah. It's weird. But at the same time, Derek then also hears another doorbell. By the way, him and doorbells just don't work. Just don't do it.
Yeah.
Just stop. Anyway, and it's Noah who says, hey, I have a special toy for a special boy. Stranger danger?
Yeah, and Derek's kind of just like frozen. Of course, he does not know who Noah is at all. And then we see there's a babysitter with Derek, and
this is Buck's girlfriend.
Yeah, and she does a great job here. She's like, "Who are you?"
No, thank you.
Yeah, you got to get out of here. She just like basically slams the door on Noah, and Noah's like yelling like, "Just where, please, like I need to talk to Mrs. Quinn," I think is what he says. And the babysitter's like, "She's at work." And he's
her
like,
office is at whatever she gives her the address. It's like, you were doing great up until that point.
Yeah, not a good move here. We cut straight to like the end of the day. Sarah is in an abandoned parking garage walking around. We get ominous music. When a woman's alone in a parking garage in a movie, shit's gonna go bad. Like it's like the worst place for a woman to be.
You'd think in movies they would just stop making parking lots.
Yeah, and watching this, I was like, I think it's time. Like, Christmas is always like, I want to watch P2, like another classic horror movie set in a parking garage during Christmas. So yeah, you can tell that she's getting creeped out. She's kind of rushing to her car. It's all the stereotypes. She drops her keys. They manage to fall down a vent.
Car.
Yeah, and then Noah pops up out of the shadows, and she sees him and like sees him.
Right, but he says, "Sarah!"
Yeah, and it freaks her out. She starts running. He starts chasing her.
He catches her.
Yeah, and then as soon as he catches her, she just kind of melts in his arms, and they just start making out. And it's like, if you hadn't like figured out what's going on, you're like, what the fuck is going? Like, what? And he's like, "Why did you run from me?" And she was like,
I don't know. I panicked.
Yeah,
What?
I panicked.
What?
I wasn't expecting to see you there. I was alone in a parking garage. I was nervous. The whole thing was weird.
Right. I mean, I could understand being startled, but literally running?
Then we cut back to the house where the babysitter is reading a story to Derek. Pinocchio, of course. Like,
yes.
If you hadn't figured it out yet. And Buck, or she like kind of tucks him in, and then we see that Buck is there, and he's like, "All right, did you finally get the kid to sleep? And now it's time to fool around." So they're like,
yeah, he's Buck and he's there to do the dishes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, so like him, I guess are they in Sarah's bed?
No, that the bed's entirely too small for a couple. So there's a second kid's bed, I guess.
Yeah, maybe it's a little guest room or something.
We'll say guest bed. It was a guest bed because that's less creepy than them trying to bang on his bed or a bed near him.
Yeah. So yeah, we see that they're kind of starting to fool around back in the parking garage.
This is equal opportunity because we both get to see his underwear and her underwear. We get both. 2 for 1.
Yeah. And then back in the parking garage, Noah's like, "Well, since you lost your keys, how about I give you a ride home?" Yeah. And she's like, "Yeah, sure." And then he's like, "So I gotta ask though, Derek he's my son, right?"
He looks an awful lot like me, so.
Yeah, and she's like, "Yes." And he asks why, and this is the stuff we've already, basically spelled out for you. But basically, I knew you had your own journey. You weren't ready to be a parent. I wanted to take care of my kid. I wanted to give him a good, stable life. So that's what Tom could offer, and you couldn't at the time.
Right, and he even says, "Hey, I had to go into the Army to actually grow up. But it did help me become responsible."
Yeah.
But it didn't help me become not a weirdo.
Right. And right away he's like, "So I want to make it right. I want to spend the rest of my life with you." And she's like, "Okay."
Right. Yeah, just 2 weeks after her partner of 6 years has passed on. It's fine.
Yeah.
But so this just nullifies all the parts that he was weird in. Like, why didn't he just go up to the door and knock and say, "Hey, I'm back in town. I just wanted to see you." Literally from the beginning.
Yeah, like, I don't, obviously they wanted this to be this red herring for us, but, like, if he had, like, introduced himself earlier on and, like, they could have had a slower build to Sarah being like, "Yes, you can just be Noah's dad again." Like, her just immediately agreeing to it here felt very abrupt, but, like...
Well, so also, though, I think this would have probably sat better with me, like, not if he wanted a sexual relationship with her, but a familial relationship, and he's like, "Oh, I'm Tom's brother, and I've been in the Army this entire time, so that's why you really haven't messed with me."
Yeah,
and that's why it kind of felt awkward coming up to you.
Yeah, or even if they had this history, if he was just like, "I want to be in Derek's life, I'm his dad, and I know he lost his, the person he viewed as his dad all these years.
Yeah.
And like maybe at some point down the road we can develop a relationship again. But as far as like I want to do right by my kid right away.
Right. Instead of just letting him sit on my lap and me not tell you, hey, it's me.
Mm-hmm. So we cut back to the house where like.
No! This is when everybody's having sex. Noah and Sarah are doing it. Lonnie and Buck are doing it. Everybody's going to town.
Yeah. So we've got like simultaneous, but it's insane. Like these are two like Noah and Sarah are adults. Sarah has a house. Noah has a hotel room. We have options, but instead, let's fuck in the back of the station wagon in the parking garage of her work.
Listen, sometimes you just got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, the spirit hits you. You just got to do it right then.
Yeah, exactly. Oh lordy.
And so while all of the sex scenes are happening, we see a set of legs in Santa pants walking around Sarah's house.
Right. Well, not just any pants. This is Joe. Mm-hmm. Joe is dressed in a Santa costume.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And he sees Buck and the babysitter having sex, and he sets a bunch of toys on the floor and then just leaves.
Right.
And then suddenly the babysitter sees them, and she's like, Buck, these toys weren't here when we came in, right? And he's like,
Buck has only one brain cell, and it's set to sex.
Yeah.
He's like, they were here the whole time.
Yeah, who cares? It's just toys. So they keep going at it, and then one of the toys is a robotic hand, and it
starts getting up in his butthole. He's like, I kind of dig that.
Yeah, he's like, oh, you've never done this before. Like he's into it. So like, Buck seems pretty awful, but like this is some progressive behavior for a dude in the late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, I'm into this. And Sarah's like, or not Sarah, the babysitter.
I think her name is Brandy. I think the character's name is Brandy.
Brandy, okay. She doesn't know what's happening, but then
she's like, I'm not touching your beehole, bro.
Yeah, the hand starts crawling around. I think it grabs her thigh, and she's like, come on, Buck, like you're being a little rough, and she tries to like brush it away.
Yeah. And then, of course, Derek then wakes up. He's watching them go at it, but now he's like, oh, there's all these toys that are moving around the room.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then suddenly that hand jumps up and just starts like strangling Buck. And then there's like a toy snake that starts like tying around their wrists, tying them to the bed. Yeah.
Then one of like the little race car, it shoots out razor blades or buzzsaws and just clips Buck in the back of the Achilles tendon.
Mm-hmm. So he falls, and the thing just like jumps on his face, kind of again face hugger style. Yeah. We just have toys attacking them. Meanwhile, Noah and Sarah have finished, and Noah now reveals the other side of all his weird creepiness with the toys and stuff. He's like,
right.
So Joe used to own a different toy shop in a nearby town when I was a kid, and he got arrested for giving out booby-trapped toys that maimed a couple of kids.
Right.
And so I've been on the case for the past couple of months. I've been trying to figure out if he's up to his old tricks again.
Yeah, it turns out that his wife was pregnant, got into a car accident, and basically that killed her and the child, and Joe became bitter about it.
Mm-hmm. He went crazy, and this is why he started trying to hurt other kids in the town.
Meanwhile, Derek gets abducted by Joe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, throws him in the Santa sack. Yeah. But so Noah's like, I've been buying up toys from the shop and taking them apart, trying to find if there's anything suspicious going on in there.
But I haven't found anything yet.
Yeah, and Sarah's like, well, we need to go home. Like, we have toys from that shop then.
Right. So, but also we didn't tell. We talked about how Buck was getting attacked. What we didn't say was how Brandy was getting literally shot by these toys.
Yeah. And
as Noah and Sarah pull in, Brandy's somehow still alive after getting shot multiple times, covered head to toe in blood.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she runs outside as Sarah and Noah pull up, and she's like, Joe was here. He kidnapped Derek, and Buck got hurt. Buck got hurt in the process or whatever. So Sarah just jumps back in the car and just speeds off.
Right, and Noah's like, wait, we could call the cops, because they stopped Joe 20 years ago, right, bud?
Right, yeah. And Sarah's like, yeah, fuck that. Like, I am going to go save my kid.
Right.
Noah jumps in, or they came in Noah's car, so he, like, gets in.
He runs. He literally runs after her.
Mm-hmm. And he tells Brandy, and Kim has come up at this point, too. He's like, you all call the cops. I'm going to try to get to the toy store.
Yep. You know who we don't see for the rest of the movie? Kim, Sarah, or the cops.
Right, yeah. So we see Sarah. She manages to, like, break in the back.
Kim, Brandy. Sorry. We do see Sarah.
Yeah. Sarah breaks into the back door of Pedo's and is, like, searching around. Meanwhile, Noah gets there and breaks into the front door.
Yeah, he knows how to pick locks. They taught him that in the military.
Yeah, so she's looking for Derek. He's looking for her. So she's, like, up on the first floor. Meanwhile, he goes down into the cellar, into, like, Pinot's hatch.
You're right.
And, like, instantly, like, he gets attacked by a toy airplane.
It starts shooting at him, but like fireworks, I guess. But also, he does have a hole in his neck for the movie. So, was it a bullet? Did he get, like, what caliber was that thing? I want to know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
He ends up, we see, like, somebody, like, a hand holding, like, a toy water pistol squirts Noah. And
we see it's Joe. It's Joe with a toy, in full Santa getup. He spritzes him with a toy water gun.
Yeah, and he's, like, grabbing at his face and it's clearly some kind of acid or poison of some kind.
Is it, though? Like, it should be.
Yeah, I mean, I guess when we see him later, he's fine. So I don't. But he ends up, he falls back and, like, gets buried under a bunch of boxes. Meanwhile, like, Sarah has gotten a couple little jump scares. She ends up making her way back down to the basement.
Well, she also sees a picture of Derek on the wall with a knife embedded in it.
Like, oh yeah, it's a picture of her and Derek, and she's fine, but the knife is jabbed through Derek's face, and so she's like, that's fucking weird. She ends up in this room that's, like, full of all these creepy mannequins and a bunch of Santa toy sacks hanging from the ceiling. And of course, we know Derek was captured in a toy sack, so it's like, oh, he's probably
one of those.
Yeah.
But once again, so the kid's mute, but I think he would probably, he hears his mom coming in, he's probably trying to make noise. Or maybe he doesn't, and he thinks it's peanut.
Yeah, he could be trying to hide because he doesn't. But yeah, it seems weird that he's not moving, or I guess, if, like you said, he might be trying to be as quiet as possible.
Right. Amidst all this creepy stuff, Sarah does see what looks like a mannequin with a rag covering its face.
Yeah, when she uncovers it, it's Joe, and he's dead.
Weird. But Joe's at the door now.
Yeah, so we have...
There are two Joes?
Yeah, so we have Joe in, like, his regular clothes, dead, and then we see Santa-suited Joe come bursting in. So this is clearly the Joe we've been dealing with, doing all these things at the house and everything.
Right, but this Joe grabs her and calls her a pretty mommy, but that's not Mickey Rooney's voice.
Mm-hmm. And she's like, who are you? And he, like,
literally
peels
takes
his face off, and now it's, like, all robotic shit underneath. And then he grabs another face and puts it on, and it's Pino.
Pino the whole time. What happened,
Yeah, and he's like, oh, I learned how to do this from my father.
You just need a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of that.
Yeah.
It's like, I think there are more steps there, man. You're skipping a few things.
And he's like, he's broken me many times. He always fixes me, but I can't trust that that's always going to happen, so I knew I had to kill him.
Right. Basically, to stop him from ever hurting me again, I had to stop him.
Yeah. And at this point, he pulls off the Santa suit, and we see, like, his face, it's fleshy, it moves, it, like, feels, or looks real.
It looks a little plasticky, yeah.
Yeah, but below the neck, he's a Ken doll. Like, he just
reveals full Ken doll, strips it off.
Yeah, plasticky, not anatomically correct in any way.
Right, he's like, my dad could make a lot of things, and we get a crotch shot. And he's like, well, not everything. Oh, boy, that's great, that's awesome.
Yeah, so we find out that, or he's like, I could, like, Joe he could never love me because he made me when he lost, when his wife died, she was pregnant, he lost his real child, so he made me instead, but I would never be real enough for him.
Right, so I've decided that you can be my mommy, which is awful and gross for a grown man to be saying that to just another grown person.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, I'll just have to kill Derek and replace him because otherwise you'll still love him.
Yeah. And so if you hadn't figured it out, Joe didn't even cause the previous stuff that Noah's been solving. It's all been Pino. Pino's been trying to kill kids so that he can replace them. He wants to be a real boy because he's Pinocchio.
Yep, and then we get the creepiest scene where he starts humping Sarah and going, I love you, Mommy. I love you, Mommy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, as we said, it's weird, like, he doesn't have any genitals, so he's just kind of, like, dry humping this woman, and he's, keeps telling her that he loves her and that he can be her real son. She grabs a screwdriver and jams it into his head.
As is her right.
Yes.
For sure. Yeah.
And so, at this point, there's like sparks kind of shooting out of his head, and we see him kind of like in his eyes and stuff, and he's just kind of glitching out.
He's like, well, it's time to kill Derek now.
Yep. So he gets a big knife, and he just starts stabbing various toy sacks, but, so far it's just like toys falling out. He's not gotten to the Derek one. And Sarah's like,
I'll be your mom.
Just stop. I'll be your mom. Just don't hurt Derek. And he's like, no, I have to be your only son. I can't let Derek live.
I can't share you.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Meanwhile,
but then Noah comes in and he wants to ask Pino a question.
Yeah, he's got the axe. He's yelling. Pino kind of gets distracted. He starts trying to fight Noah instead. But
fighting one-handed because Noah took his arm off.
Yeah, but Pino is a robot. He is stronger than Noah is. He ends up throwing him
literally
around.
Beats him one-handed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And he grabs a hammer and he's about to beat him to death. But Sarah has now gotten the axe and she chops him in half across the torso.
So he's been Anakin Skywalkered.
Yeah. But because he's a robot, that doesn't matter too much. He's dragging himself along with one arm and no bottom half. He's yelling "Father, don't leave me!" Trying to get to the corpse of Joe.
And they're celebrating now because this is the end of a horror movie, and we don't know to double tap the robot.
Right. Yeah. Noah gets Derek out of the sack that he's in, and he's like, "It's okay, I'll protect you." And Derek's like, Mom, who is this?
Who are you? Yeah.
And Sarah's like, we'll tell you when we get home. But then we get our classic last jump scare where Pino grabs Sarah's ankle. And
she stomps his head.
Yeah, she freaks out. She just smashes the shit out of him. And we get we finally, Derek, I guess he just asked, who Noah is. So he's speaking again. And then he's kind of dealing with his trauma here. And he's like, don't be afraid, Mommy. He's just a toy.
He's only a toy.
Yeah, and she's like, you're right. Everything's okay now.
See, I have a slightly different read on that. It sounds kind of like he's come back to his senses. I fear that he's been pushed too far in the other direction.
I could see there being a sequel to this where Derek is now a killer and he thinks everyone is a toy or something. I think we've pretty much run the course of this. There's not going to be any more Silent Night, Deadly Night movies. There was that really rough remake in the 2000s. But I don't think we're going to get any more of these. But there was an avenue there that could have been interesting.
Yeah, he could have been the new Jigsaw. Derek was the beginning of the Jigsaw killer.
Yeah, but instead,
but as they leave, we hear a creepy doll laugh, setting up a sequel that will thankfully never come.
Yeah, we see a creepy mannequin with electricity flickering in its eyes. That maybe there's something there that's it's gonna be the sequel. We're gonna they left us with a couple avenues and then just didn't take any of them.
Right. Which, you know what? I'm thankful for that because I don't think I could deal with any more Pino. This much Pino is too much Pino.
Yeah, he's definitely the worst part of this movie.
He is.
And I don't know. I find this movie kind of for all its sort of faults and beating you over the head with its ideas, it is fun. And if you're not if you kind of turn your brain off and just enjoying a slasher movie, maybe you won't catch all the clues and you'll be blown away at the twist at the end.
Right. I don't think so. I think you'll know. You'll figure it out.
But even if you figure it out, it's still it's fun. It's a kind of, this is at the very tail end of the original run of slashers. This is pre-Scream and pre the meta humor and everything.
Yeah.
And it's very nostalgic. It's just fun to watch this kind of slasher movie occasionally.
Yeah, so we normally talk about you watching movies during Halloween. I guess you could add this to your Christmas rotation. Sure, why not? It's more watchable than the other movies. I'll be honest with you there.
Yeah, like I think 2 is the one that I tend to watch most Christmases, but because it's just an absolute like dumpster fire and is fun in that way. This one is like actually like a pretty good movie, but still fun. Yeah, like I don't, because there's like I usually every Christmas I try to watch quite a few like Christmas horror movies. It's always fun. I don't usually hit all 5 of these every year, but I do try to like do 1 or 2 every year if I can. And yeah, this year this is the one for me. So yeah, I'm glad we got to watch this. It was, like the Frankenstein element is definitely there in the same way that we've done other Pinocchio movies at this point. Obviously, Joe Petto has created a monster, whether he meant to or not.
Right.
And yeah, I like this angle of him. In most Pinocchio stories, the thing is he wants to be a real boy and will do whatever it takes. But usually that is, he's making a wish or he's, those kind of things. But like here, he's like
replacing an actual child.
Yeah, I'm gonna murder my way to humanity. Which I mean, I guess
different strokes for different folks, man.
Yeah, and to be fair, murder is definitely a very human trait. So sure.
I've been there. I know. I feel it.
But yeah, this is one that's definitely worth checking out at least one Christmas.
Yeah.
Whether
if only for the effects, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the pairing of Brian Usna and Screaming Mad George means you're going to get some wacky effects, and this definitely has some good stuff like that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, anything else we got to say about it?
I think that's it on this one.
So, I mean, it's a new year, right, Anthony? We're coming up on a new year. Mm-hmm. So let's kind of go reflect. It's time for reflection. It's a time for like reevaluation. So maybe we can go back to the past, to another version of Frankenstein, one that's biblically accurate Frankenstein? Question mark.
Yeah. Yes.
The Golem, the silent movie Golem.
Yeah, I think there's a recent movie also called The Golem that we'll get to eventually, but this is I'm going to have to do a little bit more research before we watch it next week, but the best that I could remember is there was like a trilogy of silent movies, all called The Golem with various subtitles, but I think only one of them actually still exists. Really
More
old silent movies, they're kind of, a lot of them get lost over the years. So this is the one that you can actually still find. And it felt good. Like, so this year, Hanukkah, because the Jewish calendar is a little different than our standard calendar. Hanukkah falls like mostly after Christmas this year. So it felt like, okay, this is a good time. So we'll do this very distinctly Jewish Frankenstein movie in honor of a late Hanukkah this year.
Yeah, I think, doesn't it actually literally start on December 25th this year? Mm-hmm. The first day of Hanukkah.
I think usually it's like Hanukkah is mostly over before Christmas hits, but I guess just the way things lined up this year, I know the calendar is different, but so since it starts after Christmas, it seemed like the right time. So we'll do this silent movie that I've never seen. It's been like I picked up a copy when we started the podcast years ago, and it's been sitting on my shelf just waiting for just this occasion. So I'm excited to check it out.
So I do want to. I will mention this was made in, I believe, 1930s Germany, right before a certain number of things happened. So even though the protagonists are Jewish, be aware that they're probably, I've watched it, there is going to be some anti-Semitism. So.
Okay. Yeah, I like I said, I know very little about this, and I was thinking like I need to do a little bit of like actual research before we talk about this one, because I feel like there's going to be some context we're going to need, and so yeah, that's good to keep in mind. Obviously the Golem in a lot of cases is sort of like a Jewish superhero, and so it was
the protector of Prague, right? Mm-hmm. That was the whole thing.
Yeah, so hopefully
it's also a story of hubris. It's like this was a thing that was done with good intention, but because it wasn't done exactly quite right, it led to something else.
Yeah. So yeah, we're gonna hopefully learn some stuff next week. I think it should be a pretty interesting episode. I'm excited to finally get to this one.
Oh yeah, we're gonna have a lot to say about it for sure. Yeah. All right. Well, anything else we got to say about all of this that happened today?
I think that's it.
All right. I don't want to talk about Pinot ever again. So, Anthony, where can they find us?
So yeah, you can find us on all the socials at the Frankencast, including TikTok. You can also find us over on YouTube, where we're trying to do a little bit more video-oriented stuff. You know, before we've just been kind of like dumping the episodes as audio over there, but check us out there. You can do the like and subscribe and all that. And then, of course, you can email us at thefrankencast@gmail.com, and you can find us at patreon.com/thefrankencast, where we got all kinds of different sort of content, doing various series of things. We're talking about the Munsters again, but there's a little bit of everything over there. We'd love to have you check out the free trial, do whatever you want over there. We'd love for you to hear what we're up to over there.
Yeah, there's a lot of fun to be had over there. And also, wherever you see us, hit the likes, hit the subscribes, do all the things. Put a comment in. Just to say hey. Because, we're feeding the algorithm, the inevitable machine that will run our lives even more in the future.
Yeah,
This is our Frankenstein.
Absolutely, yeah. Just whatever you can do to keep us going, we definitely appreciate it.
All right. Anything else we got to say?
I think that's it.
To be continued. I was thinking about saying mommy, but it's just not going to happen.
Yeah, so creepy. So creepy.
Looks like you survived another episode. The Frankencast is a production of FCR Media. It's hosted by Anthony Bowman and Eric Velasquez. Follow us on Twitter at The Frankencast, or send us a letter at thefrankencast@gmail.com. Our cover art is by Amanda Keller. You can find her at Keller Illustrations on Instagram. Our theme music is by Vivek Abhishek. Thanks for listening.